Are you good?
But for some reason the screen is frozen once here.
All right, good evening. I'm sorry for that small delay. Thank you for coming and joining us tonight for our board meeting. If you will, please stand and help me open with the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may we please have the roll call?
Trustee Graham,
Here.
Trustee Jessberger,
Here.
Fiscal Officers here, Township Administrators just down the hall, Chief of Fire, here. Chief of Police, here. Superintendent of Public Works, here.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be October 6, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. at 999 Chambers Avenue. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda with flexibility.
Second?
Trustee Graham,
Yes?
Trustee Jessberger,
Yes. And I'm going to, we're going to kind of move some things around quickly, but I'm going to have Chief Jones introduce our guest speaker.
Stolen cars here in the township. Some of you know we were on the news last week for the juveniles stealing kids. We've had several serious crashes in the last few weeks. We can't get the officers hired in right now. There's no officers out there to hire. Every department in the nation right now is having trouble getting law enforcement back up to speed. So with this SWAT program, it's kind of what we call a force multiplier to help us solving crimes. Stolen cars, blind persons. Some of the information I don't have data gathered right now to give you, but a lot of the same people have been making a lot of the same crimes. It's the simplest way to say it. Us being able to track these people and vehicles and stolen vehicles. And Logan's going to give you some information about their company and why we're looking at them. And several communities here around us have already started this process, and it's been turning out to be a great success. So without further ado, I'll give you Logan, and he can talk about the program.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me in, and thanks for giving me a sliver of your time tonight. Probably take about 10-15 minutes to kind of go through Block Safety for y'all. This is a public safety operating system that we're offering. And really the bulk of what we're offering, especially initially, is really just one product, and it's the LPR. It's a license plate reader. Before I jump into about 13, 14 slides tonight and run through those, I kind of like to explain our founding story and how we got started. So back in 2017 is when we got started. Our CEO. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Told me to. I don't use the mic often, so is this good? That's okay. Is this good? Okay. Tell me if it's not. Everyone just shout at me if it's not good. I promise I'm okay with that. So back in 2017 we started. A guy named Garrett Langley. He's our founder and CEO. And before he was the founder, he was actually the head of his HOA down in an Atlanta suburb. And they were having a bunch of home burglaries, car break-ins, cars being stolen, packages being ripped off of front porches, things like that going on in their HOA, in their community. And they wanted to do something about it. So Garrett, being the head of the HOA, decided, hey, we have a lot of individuals within the community that have Ring doorbell cameras and that video footage on their front porch that they can use. And so he started gathering together the data on these different video cameras that they had in the HOA, and they were able to come up with this guy in a black truck. Kept coming in and out of the community. He didn't live there, didn't really have a reason to be there. Every time he was there, it was a crime being committed. And this wasn't just one person doing it. Their community was being targeted by others as well. So Garrett took the Ring doorbell camera footage from the community members and he put it all on a thumb drive and gave it to local law enforcement. And, he felt like he had 95% of the case solved. Guy in a black truck, seen him multiple times coming in and out of the community, go get him. And so he had to kind of learn the hard way. And I'm sure Chief Jones and his department have had to kind of tell people before the same story. So the law enforcement, the police officer actually looked at him and said, do you know this person? And Garrett kind of just looked at him and said, no, we don't know him. This is the only thing we have is him coming in and out of the community, right? The police officer had to look at him and unfortunately say, unfortunately, this is as good as evidence as it is to us as it is to you. It's a picture of somebody we don't know and you don't know in a black truck. So Garrett said, okay, fair. What can we bring you in the future that's going to help lead to this case being solved? We know it's going to happen in the future. And the gentleman said, short of having the person's name, we're going to need some type of actionable evidence to go off of. And one way to get actionable evidence is to have a license plate. So Garrett went out and got a bunch of different quotes from LPR companies that existed at that time, and they were really expensive. The most affordable quote he got for 7 LPR cameras, license plate readers, it was $200,000 for 7 cameras. So it was incredibly expensive. No way that he was going to be able to justify that to the HOA board. So he actually, being a very smart techie guy, he actually built his own cameras. So he bought a bunch of iPhones, built a program into these iPhones that would read license plates, and he put these iPhones around the community and stuck them in waterproof boxes in his Atlanta suburb. 2 weeks later, that guy in the black truck did come back, and they were able to get the read off the plate, and they were able to make that arrest that same day. So that's kind of how we really started, offering these LPRs into HOAs throughout the entire country. And we actually had a police department down in Memorial Villages, Texas, call us up and say, hey, Flock, we are solving a ton of cases, clearing a lot of cases with these LPR cameras. Can we buy them directly and stick them at entry point and exit points to our jurisdiction to kind of help reduce and eliminate crime? And so that's kind of how we really got rolling, and now we're in over 2,000 cities in the U.S., and we started in 2017. We're in over 100 departments today in the state of Ohio, and our mission is really to eliminate crime. So how does the technology work? So when you get Flock, this is what you get. So this is actually the camera and how it looks. They're about the size of a small football. What they do is they read license plates. So what it does is it reads a plethora of different license plates, whether it's a Ohio reflective plate or if it's a Florida plate. If it's a paper temporary tag, our LPRs are able to read those. Quick backstory, LPRs in the past were, the old school ones kind of were based on an infrared beam that would bounce off an Ohio or a state reflective plate, and it would bounce back and get a read into a police cruiser that had an LPR. Well, that was a little bit of an old technology. If there was a wanted felon in front of a police officer with an LPR in his cruiser, if they had a paper plate, they weren't able to get that read. So there was a lot of holes in the technology. So ours are able to read paper plates, covered plates. Even if a vehicle does not have a plate on it, our cameras are infrared and they're motion-based. So if there's a white work truck that drives by one of the cameras, it's still going to take the picture even if they took the plate off or didn't have a plate on it. So it's really able to capture all the vehicles and anything that's driving in front of those cameras. The way that they're set up is they're capturing the rear end of the vehicle, so it's able to detect the make, build, and the color of those vehicles. It'll tell you when the, so when it takes the picture, it uploads it to the secure software that the police department will have access to. It'll tell them, it'll give them a picture of the vehicle that was taken by the camera, when that picture took place, like down to the second of that day, and then how many times that vehicle was seen in the last 30 days in those specific cameras that are set up in the jurisdiction of Clinton Township, right? So that's kind of how they work. So I like to go through like what this technology is and what it isn't, because I think it's important to tell the community what this is really going to help with and what it is not. So what is it? It's license plate recognition. It gathers objective evidence and facts about vehicles, not people. It alerts police of wanted vehicles. It's used to solve crime, and it adheres to all state, local, and federal laws. What it isn't, it's not tied to personally identifiable information, so it's not tied to people. It's not used for traffic enforcement, so you'll never get a ticket in the mail because of these LPR cameras. They're based specifically on vehicles that are tied to the National Crime Information Center. So it's not checking to see how fast you're driving down the road. It's really there to say, hey, that's a wanted felon's vehicle, or hey, that's a vehicle tied to an Amber Alert or a Silver Alert, or warrants out for someone's arrest within that vehicle. So it's really helping to reduce crime, not just to, it's not a revenue generating camera. That's what I like to always kind of mention too. And then the data is not stored past 30 days. So on a rolling 30-day basis, the data is completely deleted. We do not keep the data. The data is actually owned by the city and the police department. It's just being deleted every 30 days if it's not being used for an investigation. So how does this technology prevent and eliminate crime? So there's 3 different ways. It works proactively, it works on an investigative back end, and then it also will help deter crime. So proactively, because these cameras are usually facing inward toward the city, they are gonna, within 7 to 15 seconds, alert the police department when a wanted felon drives into Clinton Township, right? If a vehicle is tied to a wanted felon or a missing person or something like that, they're gonna know within seconds. On the investigative back end, what happens is, let's say, somebody comes up on your front porch and you have a Ring doorbell camera, or you just see somebody, steal your plate off your car and take off or something like that, and you don't capture their license plate with your eyes, but you know that it's a red sedan with a bumper sticker on the back right window. Well, now, if the police department knows that, they can search the cameras that day, and they could basically just say, show me every red sedan that entered Clinton Township with a bumper sticker on the back left window. Now they've got their suspect vehicle narrowed down to just probably one vehicle. Maybe a few vehicles are a red sedan with a bumper sticker on the bottom left, but it's going to reduce the amount of time that it takes to solve crimes. And sometimes crimes won't get solved because if you don't have flock safety or something like our company, if they really were, kind of hell-bent on solving that crime, I guess they could go through every red sedan that's owned by an individual in Franklin County, but that could take months, it could take years. So this is really helping to narrow down the time that it takes to identify a suspect vehicle. Also, I should mention thirdly, it can act as a deterrent. So this is a terrible story. It was solved before a crime was ever, before it ever occurred. There was a gentleman, I shouldn't say gentleman, it was a male that was actually on his way to kill his ex-wife, told her on the phone, sent her a text that that's what he was going to do, sent her a picture of the loaded gun in the vehicle. So she reported it to the police, told them what gave them the information from his vehicle, and they were actually able to pick up this guy. He lived about an hour and a half away from his ex-wife. They captured him a quarter mile outside her house before he ever got there with the loaded gun. So they deterred that crime from ever happening. Flock in Ohio, just real quick, just to reiterate, there's over 100 departments in the state that are already utilizing our camera system and software. And in the Clinton Township area, there are a handful of different agencies, and I told Chief I'd mention a few of those. This is just a conservative list, and in 6 months from now, I'm sure this list will probably triple, but I always like to just mention the townships and police departments that are already utilizing flock safety. Like Genoa Township, Minerva Park, Upper Arlington, the Ohio State University also has our LPR cameras. Grandview Heights, Whitehall, Reynoldsburg, and several other agencies in the greater Columbus area are also planning to partner with us as well. So accountability and transparency, it's super important to go through, and this is probably my best slide that I can share with you today because I think privacy, if it's a concern, we like to address that immediately. So the footage owned by agencies or cities will never be sold or shared by Flock Safety. There's a 30-day data retention, and then it's fully deleted. To reiterate, we do not sell or keep any of the data from the cameras. Fully deleted on a 30-day rolling basis. The short retention period ensures that all data not associated with a crime is automatically deleted and it's unrecoverable. There's no reason for it. This will take out the human bias out of crime solving by detecting objective data and detecting events that are objectively illegal, like a stolen license plate or a stolen vehicle, something like that. All data is stored securely in the Amazon Web Services government cloud, and there is an end-to-end AES 256 encryption of all the data. Basically what that means is it's super secure, cloud-based. Search reason is required for an audit trail, meaning that every single search a police officer does into the Flock system is fully auditable, and that's not deleted on a 30-day basis. So if I'm a police officer and I do a search, whether it's my first day using the system or my third year into using the system, all of my searches will be fully auditable, so there's 100% transparency. There's no predictive policing with Flock Safety. There's no personally identifiable information in the Flock system. It is there to read vehicles, not to check on people or look at people. It's not used for traffic enforcement. It's not connected to registration data or third-party databases like Carfax, DMV. And then lastly, there's a transparency portal that's available so that City Council and the police department can work hand in hand and have basically an audit sent, monthly, quarterly, what have you, to understand kind of the ROI, the return on investment for the product. So it actually solves and prevents crime. I have a handful of different examples here, and then I'll open it up to anybody that might have questions. This was an Amber Alert scenario. This is not the first. It won't be the last, and there are Amber Alerts that are solved with Flock Safety all the time. We don't report on all of them, though, of course, because that's some private information. Families don't want to share that. An Amber Alert was issued at 12:33. There was a stranger-on-stranger abduction. Reason why we keep that in there is because it wasn't like an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband that took the child. This was a stranger-on-stranger abduction. Very scary moment for this lady here. Her child was taken from her, from a stranger. They conducted the search with the Flock Safety system at 1 o'clock. This all happened at 12:30. At 2:30, the suspect vehicle was located. At 5 o'clock, it was a felony stop and arrest. And by 6 o'clock, the baby was reunited with the mother. So things like this are being solved all the time. There's over 100 cases a week that are solved by police departments with the assistance of the Flock Safety camera system. Up near me, in the Cleveland area, in Brooklyn Heights to be specific, there was a suspect approached an elderly couple's home, pretend to be a rep from a water company. So basically what he did was he went into the house, he took, the elderly couple was standing in the kitchen, he was saying he was from the water company and they were having water issues. The gentleman who owned the house was very confused, but he was, the suspect was talking really loudly, keeping them engaged, having them turn on water, flush toilets, things like that. Meanwhile, 2 other individuals jumped out of the white truck they were in, ransacked the home, took their jewelry, took a lot of their valuables, and then they took off. Before they took off, the couple's son actually arrived, and by the time he got there, he was able to capture their vehicle's license plate. It was a paper Texas temporary tag on a white Toyota Tundra, and the police used Flock to track this vehicle down in a nearby hotel. This happened same evening. So these cases are being solved within minutes, sometimes hours, sometimes same day. A lot of times these are just being solved so much quicker because of this software. A couple more slides here. I like to go through this because I think it really hits home, especially for me. From 2020 to 2021, Gwinnett County Police Department had Flock Safety cameras installed. They saw a reduction in crime in numerous types of, different types of crime, so homicide all the way down to motor vehicle theft. They saw a reduction in crime, 41% homicide, 19% robbery, 12% decline in aggravated assault, 38% reduction in aggravated battery. Residential burglary was down 10%, commercial burglary 37%, entering autos down 14%, and then lastly, the motor vehicle theft was down 8%. The chief was quoted in saying 2021 is the first time in 6 years that they have had under 1,000 entering autos. Okay, so this is kind of what this system is helping police departments with. So as the number of cleared cases increases, crime correspondingly will decrease. San Marino, California, their police department saw a 70% decrease in residential burglaries, a 19% reduction in Part 1 crimes, so the really bad crimes. And because of this, they actually ended up increasing their camera quantity as a police department for the city by 36%. A lot of times we do see that a city or a township or a sheriff's office will start with X amount of cameras, and our police customer retention rate is 195%. What we see is that on average, a department will almost double the camera quantity after their first initial contract, just because they're noticing that these cameras are successful and they are very helpful in solving crime. So that's my spiel. That's what I got. Let me know if you guys have any questions, any concerns. I'm happy to help. And if I don't know the answer off the top of my head, I will certainly get back to anybody that has an unanswered question.
When you talk about the data that's not stored beyond 30 days, does that mean the township would still have it? Like, I'm just thinking, like, for investigations or like subpoenaed reports. How does that?
Yeah, so if there was a crime that occurred and the suspect vehicle was located within the flock safety system, Chief Jones might download that record and then he would have it on his local computer. That way it wasn't deleted. Now, if you have a clean rap sheet, you're just driving through Clinton Township, yes, these cameras are going to take pictures of your vehicle, but it has to take pictures of all the vehicles to get the bad guys, right? So, I drive into Clinton Township today. Let's say you have flock safety cameras. If I don't come back for 30 days, my data is completely deleted from the system. Flock safety does not keep it. You will not keep it. It's just on a rolling 30-day basis, it'll get deleted. That's kind of what our company decided to come up with. There's a lot of other LPR companies that'll, keep the data for years. Cities don't usually like that as much, so we came up with the number of 30 days, and 2,000 plus cities are operating within that time frame there with the data.
So in the event that a camera would pick up a stolen vehicle, it would be the investigator and or the Clinton Township responding officer to make sure that image is immediately saved.
Yeah, immediately they would just download it on their local computer, and then they would use that for investigative purposes, whatever that might be.
Forgive me for sounding ignorant, but what is LPR and HRA stand for?
LPR is license plate reader. Sometimes it'll be written as ALPR, that's automated license plate reader. HOAs are just the, did you say HOA?
I meant that. I'm familiar with HRAs, health retirement accounts. But yeah, HOA.
Yeah. So that was just, HOA is just being the community that, I don't know if you guys have HOAs in Clinton Township, but.
It would be like a condo association.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, and just real quick to throw it in, some folks that you see on the back of the police cars, there's looks like cameras on the back of the cruiser groups. Those are license plate readers, those are what we call the first, second generation type. So a lot of these have been on police cars, but these are stationary, we're finding out. Like a car here. I'm just going to use an example. So 3-4 weeks ago, Lennox Town Center, Rough on Teacher River Road, we were having break-ins. Somebody was smashing door windows, they were going in. One night, fortunately for us, the Target employees were stocking on third shift, and a gentleman broke into the door of Target, was bleeding, and told the employees he had a gun, so which they retreated, called 911. We were able to then find that individual in the streetway, in our ocean campus, and his DNA, we linked his DNA back to 77 break-ins in food period. So similar to this with the vehicles, when you see a 70% reduction in residential burglaries, kind of like when I opened up to introduce Logan, what we find is these burglaries in residential areas are committed by some of the same people, and until we catch them, they're going to keep committing those acts. Once we catch those people, then we get them off the street. Those crimes, we know who's doing that, we reduce the crime rate. Stolen cars right now, like I said, the Kias and the Hyundais, this would be highly beneficial in tracking these cars. Many police agencies in Central Iowa won't chase the stolen vehicles. We can track them on the camera to find out where they're going, try to find that endpoint and find where they're going when they arrive at
Any other questions or anything I can help with? All right, well, thank you again for having me. It's been a pleasure. I'm always available. So if anybody has any questions that they want to follow up with, Chief Jones, you hand out my cell phone number like candy. I'm here to help, and we look forward to eventually setting up these cameras and seeing the reduction in crime happen in Clinton Township. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. Dave, would you like to go ahead and introduce yours?
Yeah, we have two gentlemen here from the Franklin Soil and Water Conservation District to do a little presentation. They have to go around all the township meetings annually and do a little presentation. Dave Bruner and Nathan Strout.
Nate, I'm actually with the health department, with soil and water. So, like you said, this is our annual.
And this is more for the YouTube, this isn't as much for the people from.
Our annual visits to the trustees, and to talk about stormwater and sanitary, actually. So we've got the two systems in place here. It's all combined under the MS4 permit, that we are all co-permittees on with the county and all the townships. So this is our opportunity to get out and talk to you a little bit about the permit, changes that have happened. We're in our first year of the new permit. We're taking on a lot of new outreach material because of the new permit. The scope of that is there's new TMDLs, total maximum daily loads, that have come out in the new permit. So there's standards to meet, and a lot of that has to do with outreach. So that's part of what we're doing here. Part of what you can do is the outreach materials that we provide to all of our permittees on a regular basis. Use that material for outreach to your residents, because that will also help us meet some of our outreach goals during the year for that information to getting out there. So be sure you use that. The other thing I've got is we're coming up on Stormwater Awareness Week in October. That again is a statewide annual outreach effort with MS4s in general. We're hoping that you take a little ownership of that, possibly plan something, advertise it out on your sign at Stormwater Week, do a resolution that says, we recognize Stormwater Week, that kind of thing. We have all of that information for you. Should you need it, you can contact me about that. Otherwise, like I say, we're in the first year of the permit. Things are going smoothly. One of the things is training. I know I just talked to Dave a little bit about staff training that is annual requirements. We've got a new system in place, video training, so it's very easy to do. You don't have to go somewhere. It's something you do on your own time, whatever. But definitely have the appropriate staff contact us and use that system. I think we've done really well with the townships this year. I think we're all up to speed and everybody took the training already, so good job there. I want to throw that out there. That's all I've got. Nathan, I'll turn it over to you.
Do you mind if I bring those up here? So these are some palm cards that we have. So again, I'm Nathan Ralph. I'm the Water Quality Section Supervisor for the Health Department here in Franklin County. And Dave was talking about the MS4, the stormwater systems, basically conveyances where there are things that go out to those MS4s on occasion that aren't supposed to be out there. Untreated sewage. Sometimes people will bypass the sanitary sewer for whatever reason and discharge laundry water into a storm drain or something along those lines. What I would remind everyone in the room is if there's a situation where it smells like sewage, you're thinking it looks like sewage, give us a call and we can investigate. We have a pretty robust operation and maintenance program here within the county. Within Clinton Township, we have 23 what are called aeration treatment units that we inspect on an annual basis. Those are systems that are designed to treat the sewage on a particular lot and then they are allowed to discharge it provided that everything is working correctly. What we find is because these are systems that use electronic motors, they don't always work correctly. So that's where we come in. Like I said, if you have residents or people that have suspicions or concerns about what's going out to the MS4, please give us a call. The number there is there. We have a dedicated email for that. I gave Mr. Medley my business card, so you guys could contact us, if something like that were to arise. So just kind of nice to see everybody in person. We've been doing this kind of remotely for the past couple years, so I kind of think this is cool. So thank you for having us. Does anybody have any questions? Within Clinton Township. Yeah, the vast majority of those are up on East Cook Road, to my understanding. So yes.
October 16th to the 22nd.
Yeah, I couldn't have told you that. I know it was sometime in October. Should I leave this here? Okay.
Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to the fiscal officer. I'd like to make a motion to approve bills.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes. A motion to approve payroll.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes. Motion to approve the August 4th meeting minutes.
Second?
Trustee Grimm? Trustee Jesberger?
Yes. Motion to approve August 18th special meeting minutes.
Trustee Grimm?
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes.
And I'll read the April fiscal report, and after that, the July fiscal report. Sorry, I did not bring the April one forward sooner. Got it done early summer and just forgot to put it on an agenda. So April 1st, this year, the township had $9,268,060.87. Revenue in the month of April was $412,042.87. Expenditures in the month of April were $507,358.36, leaving us with an overall fund balance on April 30th of $9,127,475.38.
Thank you. Motion to approve the April fiscal report.
Second?
Trustee Grimm
Yes.
and Trustee Jesberger.
Yes.
Now I'll jump to July, and if folks want to know, the previous May and June fiscal reports are in the previous meetings. So 7/1/2022, our township had $8,843,024.02. Revenue in the month of July was $511,887.11. Expenditures in the month of July were $541,108.28, leaving us with an overall fund balance on July 31st of $8,816,171.60.
Motion to approve the July fiscal report.
Second?
And then just today in roll call. Trustee Grimm,
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger.
Yes.
All right. And then today in the mail are rates and amount for tax collection came. So seeking a motion to approve the amounts and rates as determined by the County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. So moved.
So moved.
Second?
All right. Trustee Grimm?
And that was the email that you sent earlier today, right? We don't
Yeah.
have a copy up here.
Correct. I sent the body of that in an email. Very happy to arrive today, otherwise we would have had to have another meeting this month.
Yes.
Trustee Jesberger?
Yes.
All right. And then gave folks a few flyers who are in the room. September 7th, a week from tonight at 7 p.m., we're going to have another fiscal forum. And I also do a quick citizens participatory budgeting exercise there. That's a sort of survey of where folks, if they were a trustee, would put extra, would projects they would fund. So it's a pretty informal thing. It could take as little as 5 minutes if you want to stay longer and look at my property's tax breakdown and how that computes into the township. I'll have that example up. We did this last year. Very informal. It's not legally binding. It's just sort of pretend you're a trustee and you have only so many chips, and which buckets would you put them in? Thanks.
I will say that I went last year and I thought it was really helpful because I personally didn't really understand how taxes worked. So it was a good way for me to be able to have somebody here explain the breakdown and get a good idea of what it is exactly that we vote on and then how our money gets spent. So I thought it was very valuable if people want to come.
I mean, not to spoiler alert, only about 1/3 of our taxes stay in the township. So that's one of the things people learn when they look at the breakdowns. Thanks.
Just to confirm, the 7th is a Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Right. Thanks, the village.
Thank you. On to committee and team reports.
The Clinton Township Community Health Action Team update for August. Free produce markets were held August 12th and 26th. We had 15,000 pounds of produce was distributed to 776 individuals. Be Smart for Kids, an organization focusing on gun safety and safe gun storage to protect children in their homes, distributed informational flyers at these markets. We had 68 naloxone kits distributed by fire department personnel. And the community cookout will be held this Saturday, September 3rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll have free food, some activities, and community resources will be available. Here at the station.
Do you know the September dates for the market off the top of your head?
I know the 9th is the first one.
The 9th.
I don't know the second one.
Probably look
So
it
the
up.
9th and the 23rd, 4 to 6 p.m. And if anyone would like to come over and help out, volunteers typically show up about 3:30.
It's pretty fun.
It is. It's a good time.
Both of us go to attend, so y'all should come.
Thank you. On to administration.
submitted my monthly report to the trustees. Just a few highlights. Because of the produce market, we do go through a lot of cardboard boxes. Those cardboard boxes in the past have just been being put in the waste, if you will, and taken to the landfill. So working with local waste services, we'll have a dumpster brought on site for cardboard so that we can start recycling all that cardboard instead of sending it off to the dump. They're providing that dumpster free of charge. So we'll just need to make sure that that is cardboard in there and not additional trash. But so I did work with local waste on that. We had internet issues at 999 a while back. We sent our IT people over there a couple times for AT&T to show up, and they never did. So I was able to get a large credit applied to our account, so hopefully we won't have to pay our internet bill for several months because of that. With the roofing issues, we did have the contractor here last week, and they removed all the paneling on the outside of the cupola. There was no wrap on it, so they wrapped it and caught the windows and everything like that. So fingers crossed that might assist with this stain on the ceiling right now. So hopefully that'll take care of that. We did have a Somali community link ribbon cutting in Northern Lights. Police were there, fire was there. I did attend that as well. And then Superintendent Medley did have a Ohio Public Works Commission open house here. I assisted with getting some flyers together, which Trustee Grimm handed out at the produce market, and then also attended the meeting as well. Just a couple other things. The offices will be closed on Monday, Labor Day. As usual, though, safety services will be available. We do have our fall newsletter coming up, so if you have any ideas or suggestions in regards to articles for that, please get them to Deborah. And just a reminder that I will be out of the office from September 16th, returning October 3rd.
I have one quick question. Was there an update that was coming about the AC in regards to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office? So the AC is not reaching the office that we have for them here?
Yes.
Okay, so it's fixed?
Yeah, we had to actually, totally first readjusted some of our vents.
Okay.
We had to shut some down. Apparently our sergeant's office, which isn't manned in the daytime, they work second, third shift, their vents were wide open, so a lot of air was going there.
Try to direct more air, cold air returns, and change them around, try to get everything unified through the building.
Dave has helped us out tremendously. We found that all of our cold air returns have actually been closed since we resurfaced the floor.
Oh.
Did not know that, but we were becoming extremely steamy next door, and we couldn't figure out why. So Dave came through, and that's how we found all of the return areas were completely closed. So he's
The
done a great
unsung
job.
hero. Thank you guys so much.
That actually did something at trouble nine too with the AC over there. So
The outside units has never been serviced since they've been put in. It's pretty clogged with pollen and tree pollen and whatever got sucked through the coils. So we end up treating them, spraying them, cleaning all the coils on all the units. So that way they function a little better, and we'll try to do that again. It's in October, into October. That way it'll be good for the spring season. Then we'll do it in midsummer.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Moving on to Chief Raley with Fire.
So I'd sent a monthly report earlier today, but just some highlights with that. We responded to 540 incidents in the month of August. A lot of naloxone distribution since we've become a distributor for the free naloxone kits, and we're currently in the process of trying to get a box of naloxone in all of our fast food restaurants and small businesses along the Cleveland Avenue corridor. Still in process, but we're about 50% complete already with 1 month going in, so we're very happy about that. Moving on, we had a request a resolution to accept the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Assistance to Firefighters Grant Award Package for $101,926.53 with a fire department share of $5,096.33 with a period of performance ending in August of '24.
Moved.
Looking for a second.
Second.
All right. Trustee Prince.
Yes.
Trustee Desberger.
Yes.
And with that grant, we'll be able to purchase firefighters' protective gear over the next 3 years. It typically has an expiration date of 10 years of service life. Depending on how much it's used, we're actually lucky here to get 10 years out of it, but with separating the purchases out over 3 years, we won't run into a big bunch of gear expiring in any given year. So this will be helping out our budget quite a bit.
This is awesome. That's exciting.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Thank you. On to Chief Jones with Police.
Yeah, I sent out a monthly report today as well, since we had stats we had to finish up from yesterday. We had 720 calls for service month of August, 461 investigations. And domestic violence, and again, the car theft issue is a big percentage of the numbers that we had last month. We just completed training, actually last night. We had all the township departments in Franklin County we hosted here for use of force training and legal updates training. Covered everything from the new concealed carry permitless law and recent up-to-date use of force laws regarding some of the things that have been on TV lately. But us having the availability to host the other townships that keeps kind of the smaller agencies up to par on training above and beyond what the state requires. Did a story on Channel 6 tonight, kind of explained some of that to the folks here in Central Ohio. So we go above and beyond the other townships that were participating as well. So just to share that with the board tonight.
Yay. Congratulations.
One thing I do have on the agenda with flexibility, unfortunately, Officer Nathan Batters has accepted a position with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, and his last day of employment here will be September the 11th.
Do we need a resolution about this resignation?
We can accept the resolution, yes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ron, will we do the roll call? Trustee Green.
Well, I'm very sorry. He's wonderful. He's done so much for this community, especially with the kids of the community and everything that he's done. So I'm super sorry that he's going to go, but I am glad that he is taking advantage of an opportunity because he definitely deserves everything he wants. So I will unfortunately say yes.
Yes. I'm deeply saddened. He's definitely one of the best. It was very welcoming when I came into this position, when I was appointed, and just watching him in the community, like, it's definitely a loss for us, but for the sheriff's office, I think it's definitely a gain for them. But I wish him nothing but the best and to always stay safe. All right, on to Dave with Public Works.
Hello. I already submitted a monthly report, and I'll have some highlights also to touch base on. We have, so far, we have chipped 67 tons of material through our chipping process, and want to let everybody know that we have set for October 1st as the cutoff.
Because I got a bunch more.
Right. No.
Okay.
And I think we'll push that out on social media, and we may have it on the board too, that October 1st is kind of where we're trying to finish this up for this year. Then the dump truck that we had sold on Gov Deals, it has been picked up, and we have received the $9,700 for that. That is in our account. We've worked on new township entry signs. The crew has went out and replaced some of them already. I believe we got 6 more that we know of we need to change out. So I don't know if anyone has seen them yet or not.
Yeah, I've seen one of them.
But we got them.
Me coming from signs, I notice signs all the time.
And it's we got some reflectivity to them, so at night they should pop a little bit when your headlights hit them. And being the blue and the white, they should be pretty nice looking. And I received a call about a tree issue we have a lot on Elmore Avenue, and we have a lot there. I didn't know. Some of the guys didn't even know we had it, but we looked into it, and it was our lot. There's a tree that's hanging over a adjacent property, the house. Some of the limbs had come down on near vehicles or on vehicles, so I have Cox Tree Services got on their schedule to have them 2 limbs removed, about $2,800 for them. Then we've started a crack sealing program this year already. We've done Brandon Street and working on Lamont. Once that's done, we'll head over to the west side and start working on the streets over there sealing the cracks, trying to seal them up before winter gets there and the water gets in there and freezes and busts the asphalt apart. So that's why we're doing that. I worked with Matt and Deb and working on the OPWC grant, getting things together. All the documents on our part have been sent into the county. That grant application will be submitted tomorrow. I think that's all I have for the report. Next thing I have is a motion to add a new paragraph to section 4 of the personnel policy manual. And want to add section 414 or 414, leave without pay. We have some new employees that don't have time accrued, and there's some issues that come up with them, and it's a way to give them some time, but we're not paying them for it without losing their position here at the township. Do you want me to read off the whole verbiage, or? Okay. Okay. Employees who are not eligible for FMLA leave or otherwise have been employed by the township for less than 1 year may apply for a temporary general unpaid leave of absence with medical illnesses, disabilities, including work-related injuries or illnesses, pregnancies, disability, etc., or for personal reasons. In general, any unpaid leave of absence is considered a privilege. No leave are granted automatically. Leaves must be requested by the employee in writing. A request for unpaid leave for up to 2 consecutive workdays may be approved by employee's department head. A request for unpaid leave for more than 2 consecutive workdays must be approved by the Board of Trustees. Any employee responsible deductions for health insurance must be paid by the employee during the unpaid leave, effective date August 1st, 2022. The insurance clause there is that they are still responsible for their portion of their health insurance on them times off, because if it's an extended time, it may fall in a pay period where they don't receive a paycheck, but they still are responsible for their employee portion of their health insurance.
So moved.
That's to discuss, right?
Yeah, you have to say.
You said after you second it.
Okay, second.
What do you want to discuss?
I think we had talked earlier about having a maximum number of days that people could do, being 5 or 10. Did we come to a number, or is that something that you would prefer to be left up to the discretion of the manager?
This policy says up to 2 days.
At a time, but how many per year?
We're talking with Julie. Matt and I was talking with Julie on this, or the attorney. This can be, just because this is in place does not mean that an employee can not be disciplined and terminated for excessive use. So if there's an employee that comes there and he requests this 3 times in a month, that employee can be disciplined or terminated. So it's kind of as a base to base, because it may be a little bit different if somebody's in an automobile wreck and doesn't have the time in that first year, enough sick leave build up. So I think it can be on an individual basis.
I think that would make sense. I think, not speaking for the board, but I think one of my expectations would be that whoever that department head is, I would hope would have a good relationship with that staff, that they could ask, like, what exactly is going on, as allowing for the department heads to step in to provide any sort of assistance or resources as needed, and to kind of help direct them that way. Like, I know that we have EAP. It's not always user-friendly, though. So maybe being able to reach out and just make sure that things are happening. And of course, if it would become someone is maybe abusing that, then it would obviously need to be addressed.
Correct. If a department head's letting it happen, and it's not, say if some employee's abusing and the department head is letting it happen, well, then the department head will probably end up answering also for that.
And when we say in writing, does that include, I'm assuming that includes email?
Pardon?
When you say in writing, does that include email?
It can.
Okay. So like if someone, say, has used up all of their vacation time and then they call off sick, they would actually have to submit that in writing if they don't have any more
Yes,
sick leave time.
if they've extinguished all their,
Don't have that much time.
correct.
I've
And
dealt with this, being a union store with state employees,
And this may even fall to some of the older employees too. If they've used, through the time, if don't have very much sick leave built up, and they find themselves in a situation where they can't come to work for whatever reason, who knows what it'll be, but it's something that short term I can look at, long term the board can look at.
Do either of the chiefs have a comment about this at all?
Well, yeah, what does the union what do your contracts say?
the contracts were binding those issues. They have a healthy allotment of sick leave on the fire department. However, we in that first year. But if it's a family issue or a injury, covered under injury leave, the fire department, so that would be a concern at the time lost. I thought that MLA, if it was correct, was under a year, they don't have that ability, so we just never ran into that issue.
Yeah. And even when you get full-timers, sometimes they come with their own sick leave.
Many years ago, we had it happen. We have staff for other shifts, they can work hours for those people, so that's how it's been covered in the past. We have this where we also have time trade, where if an officer has to go, they trade time during the pay period with another officer.
So we see this really only being for maybe employees in their first year. Because when they come on, they normally get 16 hours personal time and they start accruing sick time. So once that accrual gets up to the point that they can start using it, it's usually within the first 6 months for the sick time. But looking at early, just maybe more new hires, that this will be.
Yeah, I've been here, going on 10 months, and I've come across this with 3 employees. And they're all within their first year. And what this does is there's nothing in the handbook really addressed it. So that's what brought this up. If we have an employee that we hire and they got a vacation planned for the middle of the summer and we hire them in the spring, there's nothing really in the handbook says, yes, we'll hire you knowing that you're going to take them days off, but they're going to be unpaid. There's nothing really in the handbook that covers that. So this will address them issues. That's where if it's more than 2 days, if it's a week vacation or something they got planned, the board will approve it. Everyone will know it. We're following the handbook. Everyone's in compliance.
The existing verbiage in the handbook said that this type of leave would need to be granted by the board. We've really been talking about this for about 2 weeks. And in the end, after Julie read this, it made sense to me and seemed to streamline the process. That, and I'm summarizing here, that up to 2 days, leave it up to the department head to handle somebody that's within their first year, rather than bringing it formally here and listing the employee's name and saying, okay, this fellow needs 9 hours. This is just sort of leaving it up to your department head, and yes, the employee can still be disciplined. And then this extreme situation, if a brand new person was in a car accident, needs to be out for a month, but we want to keep them, that would take board approval. He would still have to pay his 9% towards the health insurance contribution. But in the end, while this is a long conversation, it makes sense to me, and I think it will streamline our lives in the future.
And the reason why we have the department head is because if we get this call at 5 o'clock in the morning, how can we possibly have board approval for it?
Mm-hmm.
So that short term is the 2 days. Anything over that, it should be known well in advance.
Or would take board approval, or the person would be terminated.
Okay.
Well, my questions are answered.
Okay, ready for the roll call.
Yes, please.
Trustee Graham.
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, I know last time at the meeting we talked about mulch in the playground areas and talked about the need for maybe something different, updated with the border and stuff also. So I got the prices, I got the quotes. They're good for a little while yet. So I got a motion to request a purchase order for recycled rubber products for playground mulch in the amount of $18,500 from Fund 1000-610-59-000. This will be enough mulch to do all of our park areas. And I'm not saying we can get us all done this year, but if we buy it, we have it here, we can work on it at our leisure and get the parks looking better.
So moved.
Second?
Trustee Graham.
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger.
Yes.
Okay, going along with the same theme for the parks, the border, request a motion to request a purchase order from Discount Playground Supplies for playground border in the amount of $10,300 from Fund 1000-610-599-0000.
So moved.
Second?
Trustee Graham.
Yes.
Trustee Jasperger.
Yes.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciations. Bobby.
Yeah, I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I want to mention it on this night too. Thanking the police and the fire and everybody for the National Night Out. I wish people from this side would have come over. It was a really nice event, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again and maybe on this side and have a lot of good stuff go on. It was really a nice evening.
I'm going to thank Melissa Tremblay, who attended the food giveaway Friday. She's our new assistant in the fiscal office, and she donated some time to help pass out food.
Awesome.
I would like to wish Bobby a happy 80th birthday.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
Happy birthday, Bobby. Thank you, Joe.
She is one of the largest supporters ever of this township, I think in the entire existence of this township. So we thank you for being you.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I enjoy participating in everything and knowing what's going on. And serving the township, which I did for 3 years, so.
Lost Karen's book, it used to be, I had, your birthday was written down in it, and that one was got misplaced somewhere.
That's okay, Joe, no problem.
Was there anything else before we do our motion into executive session?
At the last meeting, I mentioned a couple properties on the west side that need to be taken care of. One of them was on South. We've done that property before, and everything. You guys didn't clean that, did you?
No, I think Nick.
Somebody did. I don't know who it was. I was gone all weekend. I don't know who it was, but somebody took care of all of that, and I didn't know who it was.
I believe Nick went over there and it was cleaned up.
Oh, okay.
Next day or maybe that Monday after that.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe me. I know my department did.
Right. Well, I didn't think we had made any kind of a resolution or anything to do it, but I was surprised when it got done, so.
It was a nightmare last time we did it.
What, guy?
It was a nightmare last time we did it.
Would have been a nightmare this time too. See, we don't know what's going on with that property. Somebody we thought bought it, and they.
One thing I forgot to mention, just to let the board know, September 8th and 9th, I will be out of the office. Lieutenant McCoy will be in charge.
Thank you. All right. At this time, I would like to, I'm sorry.
Is there any more about closing off Walker?
About what on Walker?
Closing it off.
I did reach out to the county engineer's office. They wanted to try to get the owner of Northern Lanes TLC involved in the discussion. I've had a couple of conversations with a couple of people at DLC, and it's going up their chain of command. So that's the last I heard. It's moving up at DLC. So if they're on board with it, then I can take that to the county engineer's office, and hopefully the next step would be to get it closed.
You can't hardly get to that street.
Where are they coming from all of a sudden? Or has this been years going on?
No. I mean, we're around Amos now.
Apparently there's somebody trucks that parked back there, I think overnight. What they believe, whatever they.
A park?
They park.
Oh, they park back there.
They come down from Morris Road, all the way down Walker to get to the parking lot behind the shopping.
Are they parking back there for the bowling alley and stuff?
There and all along that road.
Yeah.
2 lines all around that road.
And on top of that, Northern Lake Shopping Plaza has their own private security firm, so it's a couple different things happening. You're seeing increased traffic, and semis are parking there overnight. And the
So what's gone in there just attracting all these trucks that weren't there before?
Well, when we worked specially in there, we would cite them under the owner of the property's permission.
Yeah.
And when they decided to hire private security, that went away, the private security doesn't.
I think they're just there. They drop their load somewhere.
Can the shopping center do something? Can't you drop it at the shopping center and say they can't park there?
They may want to say something if they want, to have the discussion tonight. I don't know.
Is there any way to talk to the owner to have him have security do something about it so that they don't?
That's what I'm saying, they can't, it's private property. We can't force on private property.
But I think what she's asking is, can the township reach out to the jail? There's no resolution.
Neither we closed off North Ridge. And really, that's not what you want for right there.
Now, when they do the roundabout up at Paris and Walford, that's not to be like a full roundabout, that potentially, hopefully could prevent some of those bigger trucks coming down.
They won't be able to get around it.
But I asked for a roundabout there at Elmore Walford 3 years ago, and she refused it.
Well, if they
It
can't
was
get
obviously a
around
good
it,
idea.
they'll just come down to Elmore and go that way.
It must have been a good idea of them putting one up, I guess, about a mile away from you.
Yeah.
I think depending on how that one turns out, there is potential for additional ones down through there. But in regards to closing off Walford, I am in touch with DLC, it's going up their chain of command.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll have some sort of response.
May I ask a quick question to Dave? Where does Elmer and Walford sit on the list of streets that need to be fixed?
Walford is the OPWC grant, would be that informed. I haven't got a list completed yet to where we're going to go next year for paving the roads. Elmore is ranked, it has a pretty high rating compared to most of our streets.
Okay. And if we were gonna add, say, putting in a roundabout, would that have to go through the county to get that approved? And then would that be something that would be our responsibility, or we would have to ask them to do it for us?
We can request them to look into that.
Okay.
Did you say something's gonna be done with Ormond?
We're
Right,
applying.
I mean, they've been working on Ormond for years.
It's a side street that's connected to Walford that isn't going to cost very much to do in the whole scheme.
It just seems like they've been doing stuff on Ormond for years now.
This is resurfacing of the roadways. So a little mill, basically.
Mill and fill, what they call it.
Yeah.
Just resurface it. It went through there, it looks like, a lot of our streets in the township, looks like the water department has upgraded their water service lines. And they only pay a portion of the road that they start, not the whole road. So we got, this side of the road is a good ranking, and this side of the road is a poor ranking.
Oh.
So
And I
maybe,
remember when we were still in the old building, they were talking about all this stuff like Ormond and Melrose with water drainage and stuff like that. So that's been what, 6, 7 years ago?
yeah, there's new drainage and stuff in there, new sidewalk, I believe, on the be part of our paving program to get the whole road paved. That way we don't have to worry about that for.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I would like to make a motion to enter into executive session per ORC 121.22G8, preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
Second?
Trustee Grimm?
Yep.
Trustee Jester?
Yes. All right, we are back in session at 9:12 p.m. We're going to go back over to Chief Fraley for a quick update on negotiations.
So Clinton Township Local 1800 has filed the necessary paperwork to begin negotiations, and I wanted to notify the board so we can determine who's going to represent the township for that purpose.
Yes, I will be the one doing the fire negotiations.
Okay, thank you.
If you could pass it down to Chief Jones for a negotiations update.
Yes, the Fraternal Order Police Lodge 9 has gave their intention to serve to the township to begin negotiations for the police contract, which ends in December. And I guess I posed the same question as Chief Fraley of who from the township would be representing the township to begin negotiations for the police.
I will also be doing the police negotiations. At this time, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.